Hello there. American Psycho is a really great movie, but there is one downside to it. It's that it doesn't talk about hypermedia. But today we are going to fix this. This is the website that I built for the video, and it came from an idea, the scene where Patrick Bateman is looking at the business card of everyone and comparing them. Well, the card is really a very present element in web development today. So we are going to compare the card of every CSS framework, and as you see, we have a lot on our plate today. And at the end of the video, I will tell you which CSS framework is the best. Let's start with Cookbook. So because we are good developers, of course, we are going to start by reading the documentation. And did you know MDN has a card article just right there? I bet nobody has read it. I didn't. But, well, I did my research and there it is, and it gets to the point. We have some content, a big title, some inside text, a footer for action buttons like buy this thing or this person. So let's look at how they did it, and the first thing that we notice is that they use article, the correct HTML tag when you want to declare an independent content, something that has a life of its own. Well done, MDM, you seem to know a thing or two about HTML. Let's continue. If we continue, we see that there isn't a card element in HTML. They just say, well, this is class card, and because article fits the bill pretty well, and then we are going to use some CSS, some border, display grid, and some row templating. Let's look at the official Mozilla card. Without further ado, ta-da! It's not bad. Pierce & Pierce Mergers and Acquisitions, Paul Allen, Vice President, 358 Exchange Place, New York. We have a fax and we have a telex. Alright, some of you might be new to this channel and might be wondering, well, how did he do it? He just changed the value of an input and he got a different element in it. In this channel we use Datastar, so we make a little break to explain how I built this web page. If we take a look at the HTML that we use, we can see that I am using some custom CSS here. I am using Datastar, so importing this little JavaScript library here from the CDN. This is just for the custom font that we are going to use on the cards because it matches the movie better. And then we have the body, some background effects that I built. Maybe we can talk about it later. We have our select, and we are seeing here data bind style, so I'm attributing the value of a signal called style to the value of this select, and whenever I change this value I post to style. And that's all there is to it, except that this div has an ID of card, is what you're supposed to be looking at. And then in my web application, thanks to Datastar, all I have to do is create the application, declare the static file, the index, and on this style root, which I defined in the HTML using the little Datastar response helper, I read the value of the signal style using read signals, and then I will match this value with some HTML. For example, for the cookbook, this HTML for the card, so the card from MDN, and Datastar will merge it by ID with the corresponding div. So it's kind of like magic, but this is what we do on this channel, we talk about this. Now, you see that for the style, I used what we saw in the documentation, you know, border 1 pixel, blah blah blah, border radius, and the display grid template rows. The cards are all going to be built the same way. The header with peers and peers mergers and acquisitions, the section, and a footer. So I'm going to be using this trick all along in the video to showcase different HTML stuff. And as you see, for the MTN one, I didn't cheat. I used their CSS. I declared it as an inline style, so border 1 pixel, blah blah blah, border radius, display grid, grid template rows, blah blah blah. And I added, maybe we can take a look at that, some more effects for all the cards. So it's still going to be a fair competition because they're all going to have this. You know, some color and background to match the movie better, a bigger font size so that you guys can see some stuff, the famous font that I imported from Google, and text align center for everything except the header where we want the text to be aligned at the end. And if you combine all of that, let me recap. If I click on Cookbook, the value will change. This will trigger a post to the style endpoint. This style endpoint will return some HTML. Datastar will do the morph based on ID. So ID card will be morphed with another ID card. And this is how we get our new card. Not good, not bad, a solid card. I would give it a 4. I guess 4 out of 10. Alright, who's excited to see Tailwind's card now? Alright, we are going now to the Tailwind website. Oh god, we are going to type card and... oh my, would you know that card is a Tailwind Plus feature? I didn't know cards were premium. I guess open source really is hard. And it sucks for me because I can't show you what these wonderful cards would look like. What I can do is search for an example of a card in the documentation, which will be accessible. You know, so they talk about a card width here, and we got this example for a card, which is nice. Here we see the usual, you know, Tailwind, blah blah blah. So the long way of doing stuff with Tailwind. And if we apply it, ladies and gentlemen, are you ready for the Tailwind card? Ta-da! What the fuck? Let's inspect it. You see here the card has the same wall of text, you know, of Tailwind here. And I think the flex thing is what's ruining it, so maybe you can just remove it. The joy of developing with Tailwind, and yeah. So this is like the Tailwind card, the MX Auto, Max WSM, BG White, blah blah blah. Most of the stuff is erased from, you know, the custom CSS for the cards, but this is it. It's too crowded, it looks like a post-it and it has rounded corners for a reason. I will give it 2. Do we move on? Are you okay with this? If not, leave a comment. We move on. Let's see, we have Yugi. So Yugi is a very popular CSS framework, I think. What is Yugi doing here? I can click on Yugi. Oh no! You triggered my trap card. Well, we were talking about cards, so I thought, why not bring out the master? You can pause the video if you want and think about what the trap is. Well, where is Tailwind coming from? This is a static website. I've shown you it's just an index.html and I'm replacing some stuff with Datastar. Tailwind comes from the CDN link that I ship with the HTML. Let me rephrase that. There was no Tailwind on the site. I didn't import it, but I could, at runtime if you want, import this big ass Tailwind package from the CDN so that it could format the card. Yes, you can put a script tag with a source like this inside your body element if you want. You can update the head with Datastar as well. I think you can. I didn't know that you could. I went with, what if I just import Tailwind in the middle of my prototyping, and it did work. Ain't that nice? You can import the library that you want. Just throw it in the HTML. Don't make any calls or whatever, just throw it right here in the HTML. Put the rest of your stuff, and then you can change the library at runtime. We are going to use this trick a lot, and we are going to import all the other frameworks this way. I'm not changing the head once, and we are going to test every CSS framework. That's the power of Datastar. For the Yugi element, something very simple that you are going to see every time we define a trap signal. We have data show if trap and data show if not trap. And whenever I click on it, I change trap to not trap. So, yeah, this is all you do this little Yugi thing. Like both elements are here and I toggle between them. Alright, the next one on our list is Daisy UI. Daisy UI. So some guy thought, Tailwind is nice, but you get walls of text. What if you simply shorten that? You know, what he... It's just some guy that decided to suffer for the rest of us and compile all the stuff that you would add to make a button in Tailwind, you know, the 20 class names, and put them in a class called button. I will put the link of every framework, by the way, in the descriptions, because some are worth it, and Tailwind... No, Daisy UI is kind of good. I do like it, because they made a lot of efforts to get rid of any JavaScript dependency. It's just CSS. For the moment you still have to use Tailwind. I don't think that's necessary, but whatever, we are going to import Tailwind with it. And we are going to see the card from Daisy UI. Tada. Not bad. Except that the header, I guess, is set to flex. It's weird that it's on the same line. Yeah, so if we inspect, we see that we use the same trick. We imported Daisy UI from the CDN and we import in... Oh yeah, by the way, you can also put link stuff inside of your body. That's perfectly fine. That's another superpower of Datastar. throw scripts, throw links, whatever, it gets morphed. Throw whatever. And yeah, we said card XL with a small shadow. We had to declare a card body for it to work. Header card title. Yeah, that's how they do it in the documentation of Daisy UI, so I wanted really to match their ID of a card. Text align, blah blah blah. And why is it? It's not. Yeah, it's flex for a reason. Card XL and card title. You can't really see from here. Yeah, Daisy UI. You can inspect the utilities layer and they align items in the center, and I guess they need flex to do that. So they flexed my header, which I don't like. They also have the rounded corners, but if we compare it to just what you get with 1,000 of Tailwind class names that you have to debug later, I think it's pretty nice. And if we compare it to the cookbook, I think it's also better looking this way. So I'll give Daisy UI a 6 out of 10. 5.5 and 6 if they get rid of Tailwind. Nah, 7 if they get rid of Tailwind. Alright, next up is a fan favorite, Basecoat. If you go to their website, they're kind of new, they're on v0.3, but they advertise all of the shad CN. Magic, none of the React, and you know when you put the words none and React together, I give you sympathy points. Alright. If we take a look at that, it's like a no bullshit set of components that you import with just some CSS. Let's take a look at installation. They say, alright, just add the following to the head of your HTML file, linked and script, and then you're ready to go. So, are you ready for Basecoat? Basecoat? Maybe it's going to be the goat. Basecoat card. Not bad. Not bad. We can see that it's a bit large. For whatever reason, the first thing that comes to that catches the eye is the footer, which is kind of messed up. So let's inspect it. What I like is that they put the H2 in bold, and we can see that it's in the base layer, in the components layer of the Basecoat library, you know. So I do like the way they formatted the header, but the flex footer, I think they were expecting maybe buttons inside it to buy or sell. To sum up, Basecoat, solid library, small, CSS, really useful, good looking, sympathy points, 8. 8 out of 10. Let's see the next one. Next one we have, oh my god, Yugi again with a trap card again. So what was the problem? See, in the docs of Basecoat, they told you to import the style sheet of Basecoat, alright, but they also tell you to import some JavaScript for interactivity. We are not going to import some JavaScript for reactivity. We have Datastar, we have all the reactivity we need. What I wanted to show you is an example. This is the popover from Basecoat. As you can see, it's working fine, as expected, really beautiful. But, you know, I can click outside, I can click on open to close it. It works like a popover would do. And if I take a look at the code for Basecoat 2, I'm just importing the CSS of Basecoat, and then I'm creating the reactivity with Datastar. So I declare a single open. Whenever I click outside, open goes to 0 to close the popover. The button is a toggle to switch open from true to false and false to true, and I just have to put a data show open so that the popover is shown or not. And this means I can close all other popovers if they have the open signal. I can choose to have some that stay open, all that stay open. I can create my own reactivity. So for libraries that want you to import JavaScript, no, we don't. And you're going to tell me, if you take a look at Basecoat, the JavaScript is really small. The JavaScript is very small. It's not a big deal. It's a big deal. And I'm going to show you why. Let's take a look at Basecoat 3. JavaScript is needed for 6 components: drop-down, popover, select, sidebar, tabs, and toast. This is fine. This is fine. This is fine. This is fine. Tabs. There is a lazy loading tabs example on the Datastar website. But this is fine. I wouldn't do it with JavaScript, but this is fine. Toast. The toast element is not fine. And I'm sorry, but when you take a look at the docs of Basecoat, on the toast element, what do we see? The infamous HTMX. Now, the value of HTMX, let me be super clear, also dropped to 0 when Datastar got out. Alright, so please, it's very easy to do with Datastar. You guessed it. You just morph the toast right into the HTML like you will do with HTMX. Please update the documentation and we can pump the node from 8 to 9. For the toast, I didn't really use Datastar. I'm keeping that for another video. What I did is I used Toastify, which is a really great library, really Unix style, just does what it's meant to do. Take a look here. I'm just importing it at runtime, so using the same trick. I'm also importing TS particles confetti for later. Whenever I click on a button, I send a post request to the root OK. This OK root, now that we have Toastify, which is loaded, can just call the execute script helper to run some JavaScript on the page and trigger the Toastify. This is fine, this is fine, this is fine, and this is not fine. So, this is how I did my little toast demonstration. Let's be fair now. Basecoat is solid work. It's minimal CSS and it's really beautiful. And all the components are really useful. It's accessible. It's not always about the CSS, sometimes it's about the accessibility. You know, having the ARIA labels and stuff, and it's true that a framework can really help. The man is doing it for free, and you can just import it and have your app look like any professional stuff. So you know, go make money with Basecoat. He's giving it to you for free, so thanks Ronan. Oh my. I wanted to send little hearts when I click on him. Yeah, there we go. My PC is crashing when I'm recording and doing this stuff. A lot of love for Ronan. Lots of love. How did I did that? Same stuff that with Toastify, you just import TS particles and you use execute script to trigger it with Datastar from the backend. Why trigger it from the backend? Maybe if you want to have analytics how many people send off to Ronan, for example. It's fine if you put your JavaScript in the page where it's supposed to live also, like, it's no problem. Alright, shall we continue? After Basecoat, we have another library that will make you a ton of money and requires that you import some JavaScript. I am talking about Beer CSS. And the first thing that you are going to see, are you ready to see the card of Beer CSS? We can see shit. The reason is Beer CSS took over my main element for whichever reason. So yeah, I just have to say thank you Beer CSS, but leave my main element alone. Thank you very much. So here is, now that my main element is back, the card from Beer CSS. Not bad. We have a lot of good stuff. The header is nicely formatted, the H2s are bigger, the footer is on the same place. It's a bit messy, a bit bold, but you know, I think it's one of the best ones that we've seen so far. For your information, here is the website of Beer CSS, and you notice immediately that it looks like Google. It's the material design system. It's also going to make you a ton of money. Just if you build your app and it looks like Google, it's going to be valued. Why do you want to install stuff on my browser exactly? Because you're like Google. I get it. So yeah, Beer CSS is going to make you a ton of money. They have really interesting ideas about CSS, so go read about it. It's a great read on how to structure your CSS and what they wanted to achieve with it. The thing is, please don't hijack my main element. It's making it harder for everyone that is trying to replace the whole style sheet in flight with Datastar to make videos live. And I think it's a pretty important public, you know. So thank you, Beer CSS, and we'll give you 8.5 out of 10 for this card. What do we have next? Pico CSS. Now, Pico CSS. Most of you know Pico CSS. It's a semantic CSS HTML framework that has really a distinct feel, but is really practical because you can slap it on any website and it will make it nicer to read. Do you want to look at the card? There it is! So, as we can see, Pico CSS is pretty authoritative. It took over my input element, it took over the header, structure and stuff like that. Pretty authoritative. We have a strong design feeling. We're really far off the mark, but it's nicely formatted. The H2s are bold. I struggle to give a note to this one. I mean, it's so not elegant, I would say, but also really useful. It's the distinction between useful and elegant. And I don't think Bateman will verge on the first one, you know. No note for Pico CSS. Thank you for being here. Really practical anytime you have a project or you want to show something. Slapping Pico CSS is great. I've heard that the file size of the CSS has gotten bigger and bigger and bigger. I haven't checked if that is true. But solid front-end library, what you would expect from it. Now, yeah, we have the original, the OG, coming up, Bootstrap. Before I show you Bootstrap, here is the website of Pico, and you see the same style, same font, same colors, same everything. They do have good taglines, write HTML at Pico CSS, and voila. It is true, it is very practical. And semantic HTML, this is also something that I wanted to add about Pico CSS. It is the first framework which in their card example uses article instead of div. Since, the Mozilla docs way back in the video, so well done Pico CSS. I really like the emphasis on semantic HTML. I really enjoy the classless version of Pico. The thing is, you can spot it from a mile away, so it won't make you as much money as Beer CSS or Basecoat. But, thank you for being here. And we switch to Bootstrap. All of the websites, all of the frameworks, I'm going to put everything in the description. You can do your own reading afterwards. Bootstrap is the original Bootstrap libraries. They're mostly known for JavaScript as a way to, ease the pain of dealing with JavaScript, but they also have CSS. And just like we did with Pico, just like we did for every other stuff, we are going to import their CSS right here at runtime with still the same card, header, section. They want us to add card body to stuff inside the card. We are going to do it. And are you ready for the card of Bootstrap? Hey! Classic, but very good. Classic, but very good. Nothing to say. It's not like the OG for no reason. Bootstrap just pulls their card and they're like, classic. I've been in the company since forever. The old timer. Nothing beats it. I'm going to give it 9. 9 out of 10 for Bootstrap. Alright, Bootstrap, 9 out of 10. We might be done here. Shoelace. Now, Shoelace is interesting. Shoelace is interesting because they use web components. You import some CSS, you import some JavaScript for the web components, and you do have to use them because we are not getting away with Datastar that easily this time with web components. We're going to have to wait on Rocket for that, but they define an element called card, small card, I guess, SL card, I don't know what SL means, and this element will have its own, it will build itself and apply its own CSS, provided that you give him stuff to fill the slots. It's a way of doing things which is very robust. But is it beautiful? Are we ready to see Shoelace case? Yeah, because it's a web component, I couldn't, all the cards have the same starting line with the yellow background and stuff, but they're like in the Shadow DOM or somewhere. Styling web components still is a bit hard, especially if you import them and if you don't control them. So either you go with a full web component approach and they all style themselves and you don't write CSS for the page, Shadowwood, or you go full CSS. It's up to you to choose. For Shoelace, I'm sorry, it's going to be a 5 out of 10 because it's good for web components, but not what we're looking here. Like, it's good professional, just it's in the wrong company. And what if we decided to go with simply good old CSS? So here is my take on a card. Oh, by the way, CSS.gold is down. I think it was $100 for 1 year, and you guys don't give enough money, so you go to leg.ovh and you slam these 2 buttons. Look at all the people that already did it. You can do it too. But I wouldn't leave you without Gold CSS. This is right. This is why I rewrote it from scratch just for this video and hosted it on its special website. Here it is, Gold CSS, a beautiful library. I'm not going to redo the whole video, you have one good reset, one modular configuration, 3 screens to center, to position your viewports, 3 layouts to position elements, 3 grids to make cards, just cards, and we can click on it. You see this nice element here? It's a view transition. If you want to check the code, you can check it. Everything is on the website. Every code is open source, everything is in the description. You can inspect the code of any of this stuff. So yeah, this was my pet library. Oh, by the way, it's responsive as well. This is my little helper library, so I just used it and slammed some margins, and this is all that I did. Maybe I could have put some more margin on the section, or maybe gold. I changed it. I don't know. It's not really good. I'll give myself a 1 for the effort. But wait. Now here is the best part of the video. Thanks everyone for staying up till here. We're going to take a big ride. So are you ready? In the beginning of the video there was a trap as well. I said, yeah, there's just the div here to do the background, and it's the background you've been seeing for all this video. You know, that these shining lights effects. This is not a video, this is done purely with CSS, and I'm going to show you how I did it. First, it's really easy, but you have to understand some Gold CSS, so this is why I mentioned it before. Full screen, I think in the rewrite of Gold CSS it's now Gold Full. We want to put GZ on this so that we can stack layer, you know, Z and X layers on it. And the first one is going to be the background. Now the background will also be full screen, will also be GZ, and on this background layer we are going to stack 3 divs that you see here, and simply with Datastar we are going to animate their background position. So every 20 milliseconds, thanks to data on interval, we modify a signal called B1X and B1Y. I wanted to make 3 separate stuff, but I got lazy because this video was a lot of work already. I'm modifying this, and then this background is moving with X and Y, this one with Y and X, this one with Y minus X, so they are all having different backgrounds moving in different positions. Then we take a look at the CSS of the site, and for the background you just have to write z-index -1 to put it in the bottom, overflow hidden doesn't hurt for background, every div inside it full screen, and here's the important part, mix blend mode lighten. So when they cross each other they will multiply their colors in a fancier way than just being simple overlays. You can get away with opacity as well. And then we are going to draw radial gradients, circle radial gradient with 3 colors: primary, secondary, tertiary. I had to rename them my primary, my secondary, because when importing, CSS from all these various providers, they will constantly declare a primary color and mess with my stuff. So I felt like I was downloading, NPM packages left and right. But really, I was just throwing script tags with Datastar, and it was a lot of fun. So you have 3 backgrounds stacked on top of each other, they're moving, and when they cross each other, they have a cool mix blend mode, and this is how you get this effect. It's really a basic technique, and thanks to Datastar, we got to animate it with real-time JavaScript, and I think the result is pretty nice. You can still see, like, here is a background going up and crossing each other, but yeah, I like it. Now that we've seen this, are you ready to see the full power of CSS? I don't think you are. Let me show you what I did. Back to our application. Here is the card. Pay attention, it's going to go real fast. I declare my div, id equals card, so that I can morph it with Datastar, and then class gold card. This class is not defined in the original CSS. What I do, instead of shipping, Bootstrap CSS stuff, I'm going to ship the CSS that goes with the card. So I have a card.css that will, overwrite stuff and restyle my card. Let me rephrase it. I'm shipping the card and it's the good CSS at one point from the backend, so I can even remember. Do you want to have an accessible website? Let me ship you the accessible style sheet for it. You want to have a dark or light theme? You can do that from the backend. We put a cookie and we will remember it for as long as you want it. This is amazing. This is like the end of the journey. So I wanted to go crazy. Let me declare one signal. Let's call it air like rotation. And it starts at 0. Alright? Every 10 milliseconds, we are going to increment it really slowly by 0.4, and we are going to take it modulo 360 because it's a rotation. Then we are going to use Datastar, which is going to apply a style to our element, but this style can be controlled with signals. Really useful. So, for example, we give it a condition on air. Air is between 90 and 270, so like half a turn. If we are half a turn, we give it a drop shadow of 2 pixels, 2 pixels, plus some pixel based on air, blah blah blah. And if it's the other way around, minus 2 pixels, 2 pixels, etc. Data style allows us to control the style based on signals. Alright, we are not stopping here. We are going to do the front of the card. We are going to use JZit because we want to stack it. We are going to make stacks. This is how you make things beautiful with CSS. Another data style. Transform, rotate 3D. We are going to make the card rotate based on the rotation signal, and we are also, while we are at it, going to control the opacity. If it's between, if it's half a turn, we hide the front and we show the back. Simple as that. Not really much has changed in the card itself, still the same header section and stuff like that. But we are going to add a little SVG because we are Jay-Z, we can stack. So we can add some noise, you know, to make it grainy, make it feel like it's real paper. And then we are going to do the back. Same stuff, we are going to add some noise, we are going to add a rocket image to it. That's not much. That's not a lot. Ladies and gentlemen, here's my card. So if you're in need for a CSS professional, or you have any questions, like, subscribe, and go in the stream. If you subscribe to the channel, you can catch me on stream. I'm streaming on YouTube now. I only talk about Datastar during my streams, but I can talk about CSS. I mean, it's kinda nice. You see the shadow is accompanying the movement of air. Air is controlling the rotation. And we are giving the illusion of a floating 3D card. What's even better, because we are shipping the CSS. You've seen here I have some mixed blend modes. This was multiply. And we can have, for example, darken. You just have to save the CSS. Now, I didn't reload the server. I can show you. I didn't reload the server, I just changed the CSS. And then when I go back to Gold 2, I have the shiny version. It's rarer. Not bad. You see it reflects on the background and it's cool. Impressive. Really nice. I didn't shut down the server. I edited the CSS at runtime. It got reloaded. It got shipped by Datastar along with the card element. And now we have the shiny version. Alright. The very, very rare you want to see. Exclusion. Mixed blend mode. I save. I don't even have to refresh the page. I don't even have to refresh the page to see my changes. I have to change the input because, you know, it's a data on change on this. But here is the black card. And this is what you can do with CSS. So if you're fine with importing a framework, I guess the best note went to... I can't remember. Bootstrap, I guess Bootstrap, then Basecoat and Beer is like the final podium of them all. You can use that, it's fine. It's going to bring you some money, but is it going to bring you fun? Is it going to buy you, you know, unlimited street cred on the Datastar market? I don't think so. And this is what you want. This is like the only currency. When I joined the cult of Datastar, I gave all my fake currency, you know. And I have the real currency of internet street cred. And this is worth more than anything. And I can use it at any time with my black Datastar card. Ain't that beautiful? Okay, folks. That's all for me. This video took a ton of time to make. So, I hope you're right since the events. I like this kind of sentences that can fit anywhere. Since the events. And... yeah. I really do like American Psycho, by the way. It's a really fun movie. That's all for me. Source code of this is in the description. If you want to ask any questions, please join the Datastar Discord. I will answer them here. if you want to waste time, subscribe to the channel and watch the streams. And see you for the next video.